Hi, my name is Dean Gichukie, a co-founder and chief growth officer at Quikk API. We are an African API platform, making it easy for you to get access to APIs like M-Pesa, PesaLink, Airtel, and so many more across Africa. Welcome to Coding Lifers. Comment, subscribe, and like the video.
And now, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a lifer for life. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I'm a lifer.
Welcome back, we're Coding Lifers, and today's episode is a very unique one. We are joined with one of the founders with the mics. We said we are going to have a different a taste of founders, and we said this one is, because it's very unique, it's going to have, we are going to call it the Founders Diaries.
Have a very big ecosystem, so we're trying to you see, it's not all about the developers. Yes, we are trying to tell the untold stories of these developers that are enclosed in their apartments or on these big offices, but now we want to tell the story of those guys, enabling those guys to hustle from wherever they are. And that's why now we have the Founders Diaries that is supposed to bring let me say those guys who dare to dream, because those are the actual dreamers, and that's why now we have today you, Dean, and it's been hata sijui tulipatanaje.
What's up?
What's up? Yeah, and it's a pretty interesting story, because I know tuliongea like an instant, and I think I asked you if you want to show up, and you were like, okay, why not? And it's very hard. I've convinced someone to just show up and for them to tell their story, because we need to tell these stories for people out there to just see what guys are doing out here. And it's good now we have the platform to do it. Mungu ametupea platform, and we're able to reach you guys, because us being also engineers, we're able to relate, and we are in similar communities somewhere. That's why we're able to reach you. So welcome Dean to Founders Diary, and welcome to Coding Lifers. I know it's a first time, so and I know you'll come a few more times. Because with innovations, with innovation comes marketing and just trying to pass the message out there. So welcome.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
So let's so this is how we normally start. We want to know the background. So who is Dean and where do you come from, Dean?
Deep. Okay, sawa. No worries. So my name is Dean. I consider myself, I think what I do essentially is bring people together to solve big problems. Been doing that quote unquote professionally for like 10-11 years. Built a lot of different products, companies, teams, solutions, both in tech and in tech, entertainment. Then I have a strong marketing and sales foundation. I've sold everything, lands, cars, net, airtime, kila kitu, smoky, kila kitu. Yeah, I know. Long journey.
The entrepreneur mind.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship,
Yeah. So and a big part of my journey is yes, as part of that entrepreneur mind, it's solving especially African problems. And I think we essentially have the responsibility, especially as smart young Africans, to build and solve our own problems. Yeah.
So which side of Kenya are you from? Essentially, from a small village somewhere.
Yes.
I can tell.
Yes.
With entrepreneurship and bright minds comes. Most people come from somewhere where they're. It's a very humble place, or like a village somewhere. You just spread your wings and now.
I was born in Thika. Grew up a bit in Moranga. Then Thika Road. Went to school. I went to boarding for a long time. I went to boarding for 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, 7 years.
The same system.
I want to tap. So you're from Thika.
Yes.
And now here you are in Thika. So now there are levels of education. So there's primary.
Oh yes.
From 844.
Yes.
844.
Yeah.
So where did you start? Where did you go to?
Let me start with primary. So primary I started in Thika, then Kahawa West, then Othaya. Yes. Yeah, so our family was moving around quite a bit, so I had to also move. Yeah. Then went to high school in Nyeri, St. Mary's Boys Nyeri. It was really informative. Our school motto is give us a boy, we give you a man.
Nice.
Yes,
Nice,
so
nice,
yeah, so we worked hard. Yeah, there's a there's a lot of manual labor. a lot. But it was really good in just understanding responsibility and
Builds character part.
Yes.
Yeah, so and then now after high school, of course you went to
campus.
university.
Yeah.
So because of somewhere, went to Kenyatta University.
So when I was in my last year of high school, I was really interested with telling stories, making movies, and especially trying to tell African stories, because especially at around that age you watch a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows, and they're very fun and interesting, but the relation is not very strong. You look at some of the cities and the towns people are living in, you're like, that's not our reality. That's a different world.
That's a different world.
Yeah, so wanted to make movies and tell stories. And around the same time, as I got into uni, I started my first business. I was doing a lot of creative projects, and I realized really quickly how difficult it was for artists to make money. And specifically painters and visual artists. So painting, sculptures, curio arts, and etc. It was really difficult and really complicated. So I was working and I built a platform to allow artists to sell their art all over the world.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so some guy in the US can, go to this website, buy some Kenyan art.
What was the name of the platform?
It was called Art Kenya.
Art Kenya.
Yes.
I don't know if is it the one I know, because I also before I started doing software and IT things. I had a let me call it a hobby. I used to draw, and we used to draw, me and my friend who is now an interior designer. So I want to do the architecture part. So interior designer, and I do the architecture.
Yeah.
So along the way, I think I came around this, a website called Arts, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
we shall talk. We shall talk.
It's the one.
It might be. Yeah, and the interesting thing with that journey is, it was back at a time when the creative world in Kenya was still really young and figuring it out, where no matter which side of the creative side, whether it's interior or architecture or etc., there wasn't a clear journey, a clear new journey towards success. Because the old one was, you go to uni, you get a degree in that specific field, someone somewhere employs you, and you just do your thing, right? But now we got to a point where more and more the artist is the business. They have to create, they have to make money individually. It's not, there isn't as much opportunity for you to get money from someone else. You have to go directly to the customer, you offer value, you maybe sell something, a product or a service. And our goal was to make it much easier for African artists, African creatives to do that.
So the question I wanted to ask is, was this your first company or the first idea?
Yes. It wasn't the first thing I sold. I did the whole primary school thing of biscuits and sweets.
During the schooling days.
You remember that guy? That guy in your school who used to sell biscuits? That was me. I was that guy. So figuring out how is money made. How do you sell things? How do you buy things? You realize very quickly not to sell to friends. Watakula hizo biscuits.
I'm trying now to now understand that part of entrepreneurism, that part from primary school. So, and what I'm trying to depict from that is that it's easy for you to identify a market, because if you're able to identify that this school is sweet, and in primary school I need to do this and this and this.
Yes.
I think.
So did your parents play a role in this, Who inspired you to do business while in school?
Primary school.
Actually, yes, it was my parents. So both my mom and my dad were running their own small businesses, making a bit of money here and there. And I saw, I think a bit of, especially when you're young, you see mostly the opportunity.
Yeah.
You don't see as many of the problems. You don't see, oh, there's a supplier issue, there's do what. You just see the opportunity. And I think for me back then it was connected to even me. I wanted biscuits, I wanted sweets. I didn't have money to buy them. So I needed to figure out a way to get money to buy them. So it was spend more money that you don't have to buy, sell to everyone, and then you make a small profit, and now you have your own.
Nice.
And so it, I think, yes, taught me a lot about business, figuring out a market, etc. At very, very early stages of figuring that out. Yeah.
Nice. So at this point I'm thinking, there's a quote that says, readers are not born, they are made. Does it go hand in hand with the entrepreneurs are not born, they are made?
Yes, yes, I think completely true. Yeah, completely true.
Yes. Because just identify a market, and now that market makes you who you are, right?
Yeah.
That since schooling days up to now, do you think that the schooling days, the entrepreneur young person of the way you were played part in who you are today?
Yeah, I think what it did is that it removed, or it changed my relationship with risk and failure. Because when you start a small business like that, there's many times you've sold a full box of biscuits and you don't think you made a profit. Because you look at the money and how much it will take to buy a new box, and you need to put in more money. They're like, wait, something funny happened here. What happened?
What is happening?
And there's no accounting. There's no even exercise book that you wrote 5 bob to so and so, 10 bob to So you start realizing, oh, okay, so something didn't happen well here. A mistake was made. Something didn't happen right. So it, I think, allowed me to understand risk and failure, where if things are not done well or the right way, then it's really easy to fail. And I think I got out a lot of my initial failures back then, when the risk was very low, right? Because a big part of doing anything is the first couple of years or times you're going to struggle and fail and really figure it out, right? And for me, at least, it took care of that, and it showed me how to, in a way, get things done.
You see, your story is a very interesting one. Because here you are, you've done theatre. It's called in Kenyatta University. And when I check your portfolio, most of your, like the early, after now, the Art Kenya, that cycle, you are like working in marketing or something. And there's like a part now I've seen that is very, I've seen that you worked with the Lani somewhere for a period of...
Still, a little.
It's a group
Still. Yeah.
For a period of like 5 years.
Still ongoing. Still ongoing.
Till today.
Yeah.
5 years. So you have a very interesting story, and I think how was the switch from now you doing theatre in university and now transitioning to a marketing guy? How was it?
Yeah. So it's sort of a situation of none of them ever really stopped. So when I got into theatre and studying acting and etc., I was already selling, right? I was already doing marketing, already getting customers, etc. And then when I got into theatre, I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be an actor on TV and theatre and make TV ads and TV shows and be action star and explosions and all that. And that did not happen as well as it should have. And then what I realized is there was still a path to making that happen, but I felt like I didn't want to dedicate the rest of my life to that. I felt like there were a lot of my friends and colleagues who were much more talented than I was. And then two, I was more interested in bringing people together to work on projects. So I slowly became a writer, so started writing stories, writing books and novels and scripts, and figuring out how to get people involved in that. And then that got me into production, which is I get a team of actors, team of cinematographers, team of directors, sometimes even writers, and we work on a story. Right, and we shoot it, and we edit it, and we release it. Which got me now deeper into the marketing and sales side. Because here you have a movie, it's done, it's ready to go.
So you need to be marketed.
Yes. How will people see it? Yes. And what that did, I think, is it made me understand all the different parts of how, especially the end customer, the end user, interacts with something. So how is it made? How is it packaged? And then how is it sold? Yeah, and that now became really useful even for me up to right now, where I'm able to understand enough of the building process, enough of the packaging process and the selling process. So when I focus on marketing and sales, even right now, I still try to add value to the other steps. I still try to add value to the packaging and to the creation, because you try to create great products so that everything else is much easier. It's much easier to package, it's much easier to sell. Yeah.
So that's how that's how you met now, Alani.
Yes.
And now, here you are. You've done like a couple of, you've been through marketing and all that stuff. And now, since Artwork Kenya, I saw something called Kunta content.
Yes.
You're full of it. Maybe you can share a little bit. No, you have Artwork Kenya. You've done like a series of. You have a cycle of other marketing and with Alani. So you work with other series of companies, and they are long term. Have a very interesting resume when you come to think of it, man. So now here comes, now you bring you are now a co-founder to content. What was it about, and why? What problem was it trying to solve?
So I've always had a desire to continue to tell stories, and for me I find marketing and sales just a continuation of that, where the story about a product that's been built or it's being built and it's evolving, and essentially try to communicate that in a way that someone can make a decision, right, and decide this makes sense for me, which is usually the preferred, or this doesn't make sense for me now or ever. Which is also okay, because you never want to sell something to someone who doesn't want it. So as I continue to tell stories, there are a few ideas that fight you forever. That they always want to be made, they always want to be told. And back in 2013, there was an idea about making a Maasai game. Yes, like a Maasai action adventure game. You play in like Maasai Mara, you fight poachers, you're attacked by lions, like that Maasai experience. And it's one of those ideas that never really left. Like every software, you're like, hey, that one, I have to figure out a way. And I was really fortunate to meet a few other guys, especially game developers, who also thought the idea was really cool and wanted to work on it. So we came together. We set aside a few hours every week, spend some time together, work on it, build it. And I think especially when you have the ability to work on something long term, it's really rewarding even to the things you're doing currently. It's an opportunity to explore new ideas, to continue building your hobbies, continue building other things that you're working on. And for me, everything ties together, right? So whether it's building something, whether it's packaging or selling, anything that I'm doing at that time adds value to everything else, because you're always interacting with new ideas, new people, and the goal with that is to continue making really interesting games and hopefully showcase what Africa can make.
Nice. I'm grateful that now we are at par, and now we are where we are supposed to be, because the reason why we are here is about Dean and the Quikk API, and now we have touched on developers. Off camera, we shared your story with me of how many companies you have started, like 11. Dean, 11. 11 Tell us how did you manage to keep track? Like every day you're still pushing, and now you're talking about having an idea still back in the mind and it's not leaving.
So I hadn't thought of it that way. I didn't know there were so many. I think what happened is that they sort of rolled into each other. So like I think every company I've started evolved like months or sometimes even years after starting. Where like at Kenya, for example, started as an e-commerce platform, then eventually became an events company, then evolved into being like a marketing sort of agency. So like and each of them has slightly different structure and etc. So can essentially be considered even a different company and a different organization. So Quikk, I think for me, for the longest time, it's always been frustrating how difficult it is to start and run a business in Kenya and in Africa. And a lot of people think of it from the governmental side of setting up a business, which is, yes, difficult, but usually worst case scenario in a month, it's done. A big part of the troublesome work is usually the long term. So you started a business, how does it make money? Where do you go and get customers? How, of course, how do you receive payments? How do you add value to your customers? How do you make your customers come back? And I felt that that experience was much more difficult than it should be. And as I continue to work, especially with tech companies and start even more companies, it took way too long before you could serve the first customer. Like it took months and months, sometimes even years, before just one person had gotten value. And the goal was, for me especially, was to figure out, okay, how does this reduce? How do you move from, 6-8 months before you go live to maybe a week or two? So that you can go out, build something, get a website very easily on like a no-code platform, connect payments to that really quickly, sell a simple product and make money. And figure out whether customers want the solution you're providing. And essentially, Quikk API is, I think, one of the key connections, especially for African entrepreneurs, where it's fairly easy to build and host a website. You can do it yourself, or you can build it on another service. It's fairly easy to send SMSs to your customers. It's fairly easy to do delivery, right? But the gap that remains, especially for devs, is perfecting the payment experience. Where money has come in, it has come in, especially into your own, let's say, M-Pesa pay bill or your own bank account or a different system, the money has come in. You've been able to verify the money is in. You've been able to connect that to, let's say, your order fulfillment system, whether it's a delivery that needs to go out or they're buying something on your website, that has happened. And then finally, you're able to, over time, give that customer more value. So maybe they bought X, you want to give them Y, because you think X and Y work well together. So that full experience is really what we are trying to solve. And APIs are a really useful way of doing that, where a lot of these other systems have been built. Now the final one is just that money coming in.
Nice.
So when did the idea for Quikk API come? And how long have you been in business right now?
So I'll speak a bit on behalf of the company. So my co-founder was running a payment gateway for like 10 years. I was running my own businesses, receiving payments and fighting around that and figuring out why is it so messy. Interacting with a lot of players in Fintech, interacting with Safaricom, with banks, partly as a customer and partly as a consultant, trying to understand why they do the things they do, the decisions they make, and realizing that at the end of the day, it's really for us as entrepreneurs to sort of build tools and solutions for ourselves and the problems there we see them. And as I was going through that, again, going back to the problem of starting, where it took way too long to get started, let's say on M-Pesa, right? Or on getting a bank account or receiving your first payment and getting that verified and etc. And I started working and building VC-backed startups where speed is everything. Speed is very critical. You're supposed to be growing really fast every month. And every month you're delayed is a month you lose. And you have to figure out a way to get it back in future. And it became really, really critical that payments did not work that well, for example. Or you're not able to you're not able to confirm customers that quickly. And interacting more with people in the payments world, everyone experienced the same problem. Oh, I made an API call, it did not go through. I made a payment, I can't reconcile it, I don't have the information. The system that I use does not give me back the information I need. And all that just came across sort of like a payment experience, but now speaking to payment gateways and other people in payments who have built those solutions, they still have a failure point, which is that the APIs do not work as well as they should. The connections are not that good. They do not have the visibility tools they need. And it became really obvious that there's a challenge at the API infrastructure level that needs to be solved. And there's a line between the rest of the world, especially quote-unquote first world, and third world. Because our economies are different, our currencies are different, our customers are different, the payment procedures we use are different, the trust levels we have are different. So we sort of have to build it ourselves. And when me and my co-founder met and we started talking about this problem, he was already figuring out the infrastructure level, but how does that now connect into the rest of the economy and the rest of the ecosystem, right? Where, yes, 1 developer, 2 developers, 10 developers might use it and gain a lot of value, right? But then how does that connect for those developers and for those companies into the rest of their stack or the rest of their business, right? How does it connect to SMS? How does it connect to order delivery and fulfillment and etc.? And the goal eventually was build an API platform that allows everything to talk to each other. And you can move really fast, really well, really accurately, and solve all these problems. Yeah. I know I've gone very deep. I've gone very deep. Very deep.
But the good thing is, you see, us being engineers, we understand these problems. We've experienced them firsthand, either where we work or the solutions that we build over time. So we understand what you're saying. What you're saying firsthand. And I think that's some very interesting stuff. And you're trying to solve a problem that you already there. And I know I know running a business is not easy. Starting, you see, the hard thing about doing something is first starting and just believing in yourself. I know you just don't wake up and say so you have to have consulted. I know you've said you had like other colleagues who are Safaricom and other which is very interesting because at least see like most in terms of payment, Safaricom is the giant in Kenya. So and you have to consume their services in one way or the other. So I know you identified the problem, and it's very interesting that you are able to. I know people have not understood because most of them have not understood maybe what you're trying to solve, and I know you're going to make sure they understand. And for them to come and that's why we are even here for us to explain to them that what you're trying to solve and where you've identified the gap. And how you're going to fill that gap. And called Daring to Dream, which is very interesting. And it takes a lot of guts. And I know at first, how was the journey when you decided, now let me do this? I know it was not, let me now start the company itself. You see, now you need people, you need to bring in people, because you yourself, you don't have like an engineering background. But you need to get someone else who you partner with, who has that knowledge in engineering and all that. So how was it? How was the journey?
So it was an interesting one, partly because I'd already deeply experienced the problem. One, running my own businesses, and then 2, working with other companies that needed everything to work on day one, especially in fintech. So the problem was already nagging at me and really frustrating for me. And then as me and my co-founder continue talking and like trying to understand what the journey might look like, for me especially, it was a journey of figuring out where exactly is the technical problem, right? Because tech startup, we're talking to investors, we're trying to bring them on board, and it's figuring out, okay, is this problem really solvable? Especially by a third party, right? Because some of the systems we have integrated with are really critical systems, and we've had to build a lot. Yeah, so I've worked with many other co-founders in the past, and starting anything, whether a business, a project, even a podcast, is so much easier when you're more than one person, especially two people with the same vision or a similar vision. And so we met in a non-traditional way. He was working on this idea, I was also working on another idea, and the more we talked, the more we engaged, the more we spent time together, the more it was like, okay, there's something here, we should definitely talk more, discover more, etc. At a technical level, tech and business feel different, but they're usually quite similar in how you're supposed to get them to work together. And for him, he wanted to be able to focus a bit on the tech and make sure we are there, and then find someone who could go and, you know, do the sales, do the marketing, bring people on board, customers on board, etc, etc. So a big part of this journey has been being able to focus on what you're good at, what your strengths are, knowing that someone else has their strengths and they're able to focus on that. And I think an interesting thought process I have is that even developers need APIs to talk to each other, to communicate with each other. I find that devs don't have a lot of experience with communication. A lot of communication is very technical, right? It's through computers, through code, etc. And I find that in building even tools for devs, there is a layer that needs to happen that is simplified, so that almost any dev can understand, right? There are a lot of different groups and cliques of devs. We were just talking about Go and Golang and Elixir and etc. There are guys who understand that system really well and might struggle with, let's say, Python. Right? There are different thought processes around like classes and parameters and etc. that every language has and every framework has. So what I try to do is to bring all that together in a way that makes sense to the average developer, quote unquote. So that no matter your foundation, no matter whether you did CS or you did not, you still understand, yes, how to use our products, but also how to build better services.
So how has the roadmap been? Because essentially when you start a business, you have a roadmap. You sit down, decide now, after, because now you've been in exam for like one year and 4 months. So how has it been for that specific period, and what, I know you had milestones, because obviously every year you have to sit down and say, this year you have to do this, this year you have to do this, and then you come back, revisit now, and say, then now we're going to do this. How far are we with what, how has the roadmap been, and what are those huge milestones that you've hit along the way and you are like, this is the right idea, this is what I've been trying.
Also to add on it, and which methods do you use when you set in goals, those milestones, and just to add on top of it, just to tell us the challenges you have faced since your first business up to this now that we are talking about.
So it's been so the beginning was interesting because there was a very clear problem we were solving, but then there weren't many people who were trying to solve it like us. So we were immediately able to differentiate ourselves and get a good number of customers to come in and use our solution. But then at the same time, we understood that there are certain tools and features that our clients really need. So we were able to get a lot of really good feedback and continue to build on that. In terms of setting goals, how we think about it is, what are we trying to achieve, especially for our clients? What are we trying to help them to do, right? And usually it's to build better, to build faster, to sleep well at night, which is an interesting goal. Not being stressed around what's going on with a certain API, having visibility tools, understanding what's going on where, being able to see that. And then in terms of internal goals, for us, a lot of it is just how much more our clients can use our platform. How many more APIs can they integrate? How quickly are they able to do that? How much more money do they make for themselves? How many more customers do they serve? And that for us adds to our value, right? So yeah, we think about our customer or personal client success as a big part of our success. So enabling them. Internally, we focus on like how much use our customers get from our platform, and we only try to charge for that, right? We do not try to charge fees that are not directly connected to that. Challenges, so money is an interesting one. So we've been able to raise from investors, and that has given us a certain level of both freedom and responsibility, because you're responsible for that money. Of course, everyone says hiring is a challenge. I think hiring is a unique challenge, not only because of the skill or the talent, but also attitude, like being able to hire for attitude. Everyone has a story of they were doing some good work at a company, but there were one or two people who were making their lives so much harder than it should have, right? Both at management and colleagues. So we try to make sure that everyone we bring on board has, yes, the technical skill and talent, but also the attitude to be able to work with everyone else. A unique journey, especially building a tech company right now, is that there's usually a lot of noise. There's a lot of other companies, there's competitors, there's solutions that you need to build and you need to think about. So creating a path, creating a plan and focusing on that is really critical, and being, of course, really focused on the customer.
Nice. So what is that thing that now you have mentioned about the competitors? What is that thing that that separates you from your competitors, that sets you guys in front?
So I think one of the key ones is that we are 12 people, like 10 of them are devs. So we are very, very dev focused, which is really useful when you're building developer tools. That also slightly connects to the fact that we are building a mostly, if not an only, developer platform, where our customers are devs, their CTOs, their heads of engineering, etc. Two, we are focused on building additional value. A lot of people, especially in payments, mostly focus on the payments. Money has moved from here to there. And especially for Kenya, that has been mostly solved, right? You can move money from here to there for the most part. We think the challenge, what most people are doing even in fintech and in tech, is adding value on top of that payment. So money has moved, yes, but what is the service? What was that money used for? What did it allow? Did it allow someone, let's say, to come to your house and provide a service? Did it allow a restaurant to serve an order? Right? What does it allow a business to be able to lend to their customers? So what does that transaction happening add value to? That's something we really focus on. And we essentially can serve a lot of companies using our infrastructure. We serve banks, we serve payment gateways, we serve tech companies, e-commerce platforms, and that allows us to focus on a much more specific line of customers, like tech companies with devs, etc., that need perfection in their payments especially, and perfection in their APIs.
I think the interesting thing that I'm picking out from that conversation is you're able to walk a journey with the client from the day they step into your door, and from the moment they have interest in consuming your product, the APIs, essentially, you are able to walk with them hand in hand, and making sure they're okay at every step, which is, I think that's an add-on, because with most with most services that people consume, like these ones that we consume maybe from abroad or something, it's very hard for you to be in contact with someone who is directly involved in the development, which is a big problem. And it's interesting and very nice to see come out. And you trying to make sure that your clients are
happy.
They are your priority. That's awesome.
Another thing I like about you guys, I was telling is about how you have owned the thing, like built for Kenya, made for Kenya, and now you're spreading links even to other parts of Africa. So that's very nice.
Thank you. And I think a unique part of that journey is we essentially, especially as Africans, have a unique responsibility to build products that work for us. We have a lot of products that we've imported from all over the world as Africans, whether it's in payments, whether it's in other industries. And they generally work, but there are so many gaps and failures that they have that do not apply to our economies and our ecosystems and our people. So we do have a responsibility to build ourselves for ourselves. And then, of course, it is challenging at a technical level to do that, but then it is very rewarding, both for business, financially, and etc., but also for your customers.
Nice. So we are about to wind up, and the last question I would like to ask you is when you start talking about transaction of money and in the fintech world, there is something that arises in a business person is about security. So you guys are Quikk API. How do you prioritize and maintain security so that the end user and even the developer is sure that Quikk is good in security and we have no issues?
So the first one is we started working on the platform at a time when a lot of Kenyan companies were going through significant security challenges around their payments. So that for us was probably one of the strongest foundations for us, security. Two, we've added a lot of tools on top of the API, both on our side internally and also for our customers. We have HMAC authentication, which is really secure, 256 encryption, we have SHA-1 encryption on phone numbers. We are building tools for our developers, for developers using our APIs. Like we just recently launched a whitelist add-on where you can whitelist shortcodes, you can whitelist accounts. We have IP whitelisting, static IPs. Like we've tried to build out a lot of security focused tools that make it really easy for people to use our platform. You sleep well at night knowing that everything is as secure as it is. And then for our clients, of course, we recommend the highest utmost security policies for them, right? So your password storage, your key storage, how you manage your environments, and what that does is that for the most part you are really confident that you've built a really good system for your internal use and for your customers, and more importantly you're connecting to Quikk API, a very secure system. That works at a very high level of reliability.
Yes. I wouldn't want the interview to end before I ask this. Right now, in 2023, in terms of ICT, data compliance is very key. And if you're not compliant, see the case that happened. There is sensitivity right now in terms of data, someone's phone number or image or something. So what are you doing to make sure that Quikk API, because you're consuming personal data from other stakeholders, so what are you doing to make sure that Quikk API as a business is compliant to the specific act that has been set by the government?
So, that's a really good question. So one, we are licensed by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. We essentially process data. We do not control it, so data goes through us. We do encrypt and minimize customer data, and we package it in a way that the companies that need to get access to it, that have gotten the access and authority to do that, are able. That's part of the SHA-1 encryption I mentioned. And what that does is that, especially at a technical level, it's ready on day one. When you integrate with us, it's already done. And then data is quote unquote the new gold. How we try to help our clients use it to serve their customers, but also to protect themselves in case something goes wrong with that data, right? And that makes not only our lives easier, but their lives easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So as we come to the end of the
But I know we can speak like all
Yes, yes. I have like 1 more hour I can talk. I'm ready.
So what is that advice that you would give yourself, your younger person, your younger self, that could change the Dean of today?
Yeah, I think speed is a very powerful tool, and one needs to have a lot more speed than they currently do. Especially for me when I was younger, I think I was moving really fast. I think I could have moved a lot faster, even back then. So it's really important to move quickly. What you think you can do in a month, you can usually do in a week.
Yeah.
And sometimes what you can do in a week, you can do in a day or two. So I wish I moved much faster. And what that does is that you're able to, one, fail faster, which is very, very important. You waste fewer resources, less pain when you fail faster. And then two, you're able to really improve and get much better, as you continue to build.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is it, guys, and I hope the next episode is not that quick.
Because of Quikk API, it was an interesting.
It was very interesting learning from you, and also I'm also proud to be part of Quikk API. So if you're not ready, if you have not joined Quikk API, this is the moment. It's very fast for you guys developers, and Mike, are we ready to implement the Quikk API?
Yes, for sure. I'm going to explore Quikk.
Yeah.
And thanks for letting us tell your story. It's been a long time coming. I've been waiting for this. I was telling this guy, I've been waiting for this. I really needed to get the insights on what you do and how you do things, which I think I've gotten 90% of it. I know the 10% is now for us to interact more, which is now that's not on camera. We do it outside. So there's a lot that I know we're going to discuss, and I know we're going to. It's gonna be we bring even other guys. So we've been trying to even bring other guys to come tell the story. One step at a time. And thank you for being part of Coding Life and putting a stone into what we are trying to build. So thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an interesting conversation. Looking forward to chatting more.
So if that was not quick, I don't know what is.
So make sure, guys, you subscribe to the channel as we have, and you can follow us on our socials. We have LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, and YouTube, we have Spotify, and Coding Life at everywhere. And we have a community on LinkedIn called Coding Life Community that we're trying to build, where we'll be posting innovations that are making everyone who comes to these interviews, we share their video there, people to learn and for us to engage. So thank you, guys, and
that is it.
Cheers.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,